All right, so we are at the midpoint of this NFL season. 9 weeks down, 9 more weeks to go. This is the midseason report. I'm just going to give my thoughts on things. I'm probably going to be all over the place in this. I just want to talk about some of the things that I've kind of noticed, and I'm not going to spend so much time on every team. You guys can watch my Power Rankings video to see that. I just want to give my thoughts on things throughout the league. Now, I want to get the biggest surprise of the 2025 season out the way. That would easily be the Indianapolis Colts. One of the best teams in the NFL, even though they are coming off of that loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers where they were still in the ballgame despite 6 turnovers. Number one offense in the NFL, no one would have saw it. Daniel Jones resurrecting himself in his career, no one would have saw it. You see what a guy like a Jonathan Taylor can do when he is healthy. Easily one of the best backs in the NFL. He didn't get talked about a lot because, let's just say, the injuries. The injuries are something that really have been plaguing Jonathan Taylor for a good portion of his career. But when you watch and you see this team play football, they play great defense, they run a football very well, and Daniel Jones has been efficient. And this team, who would have thought the Indianapolis Colts, after 9 weeks, are 7-2? Definitely not a thought that we came in with. A lot of people came in as who's going to be the starter? Is Anthony Richardson going to eventually resurrect his career? Is he going to live up to that number 3? I think he was the number 4 overall pick expectations. Haven't done so. And they do it by wide receiver by committee, whether it's Pittman, whether it's Pierce, whether it's Downs. Tyler Warren, who they drafted in the first round, has been a tremendous find for him. Defensively, you got Latu, Buckner, Zaire Franklin. They just acquired Sauce Gardner from the Jets to help with that defense, along with Kenny Moore and Cam Bynum. Are looking at a team who I think could be a formidable force down the road. We're still going to have to see it because it's one of the more unproven teams. And it's kind of like Minnesota last year that nobody expected this because it's the whole Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones thing. It's the whole defense playing well thing, the running game thing. I think this is a team like the Minnesota Vikings last year that come out of nowhere and start to surprise everybody. Now, another big surprise at points were the Baltimore Ravens not looking how good they were. One point, they were one of the worst defenses in the NFL. They still are on the back end. They have a lot of injuries, whether we're talking about Lamar, whether we're talking about Roschon Smith, Kyle Van Noy missed time, Madubuike has been out for the year. This Ravens team with now guys are getting healthy outside of Madubuike, who is going to be out the rest of the year. This team, along in that AFC North, which is still winnable for them at 3-5, even though, like I said, it's 3-5, but nobody took advantage of when the Ravens were down. Pittsburgh's 5-3, but Cincinnati, we know they had their injuries and their defense is one of the worst, and Cleveland is Cleveland. So while they were down, nobody took advantage. The Kansas City Chiefs, it's been off to a rocky start a little bit. I still think they are a very competitive football team. Denver at 7-2 is another surprise. I knew Denver is a very good football team, but I didn't think they were 7-2 good. I thought they were going to be another year or two away from having to kind of start like this, but Bo Nix has been playing some good football, and you do have a guy like Patrick Surtain, who I think is one of the best corner in the league. Defensively, led by Nick Bonito, led by Zach Allen. Really good defense. Pairing with that offense that's starting to grow more and more with J.K. Dobbins from The Ohio State University. R.J. Harvey has been well in that running game. Sutton, Franklin, Mims, a wide receiver. Ingram has been a nice addition at the tight end spot. The offensive line has been playing well. This Broncos team, along with the Patriots are, at this point now, at the time of me recording this video, are leaders of the AFC East. And no one would have thought that at this point. The New England Patriots with Drake May playing some significantly great football, MVP level type football. Then this defense, when you're led by guys like a Barmore, guys like Christian Gonzalez, guys like Carlton Davis has been playing well. Milton Williams in the interior has been playing some really good football. Led by Josh McDaniels at the offensive coordinator spot. Then you're going to have a guy like Mike Vrabel, who I think still the Titans fired him at the wrong time. Has been one of the greater coaching hires that we've had in the NFL. He has gotten this team changed the culture, changed the things in his locker room, and this Patriots team looks like they could be a formidable force out in the AFC, which I think we have a lot of parity in the AFC. We talking about 3 teams at 7-2, but the Bills still being the Bills at 6-2, Chargers 6-3. I just really think that this football season in the AFC is wide open. Then we get to the NFC side of things. The NFC North is a crazy division. Green Bay 5-2-1. They tied with the Cowboys, and I think the Packers are a team that I'm not gonna say plays down in the competition, but they have these games, the Panthers and the Browns being those games where it just looks like the offense doesn't show up. Tucker Kraft injury is big. Detroit, they started off a little rough and people thought, okay, maybe this is their adjustment period. Maybe they take a step back. Still one of the good teams in football despite them losing to the Vikings this past week. The Bears at 5-3, they had the whole rough patch. The first 2 games, I was like, oh, especially me as a Bears fan, I was like, oh, God, here we go again. 4-game win streak. They lose to the Ravens. Bad showing. They almost blew it against Cincinnati. And you got the Minnesota Vikings who've had their injuries at quarterback, whether it's in McCarthy and Wentz. Defensively, this team is starting to look a little older, I think a little bit, but they're starting to get things back. I just think when we're talking about this NFC North, it might be one of those divisions that go down to the wire the last 2 weeks of football. So that's the thing to look out for. Tampa Bay. I had to get Tampa Bay in there. The way the Baker Mayfield is playing, this team has been dealing with injuries, whether we're talking about Mike Evans being done for the year, Godwin being in and out, Ibuka having his injuries, and then Bucky Irvin has been out, and this team still is playing some really good football. Baker Mayfield has been playing at MVP level, and this defense has been opportunistic in turning the football over. And I just really believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a team to watch out for if they get guys like Irving and Godwin back healthy. It's unfortunate that Mike Evans is done because I've been a big fan of Mike Evans. This Buccaneers team is playing well. We know what the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles can do. They've had their turmoil, but yet they were still winning football games. We've had the Carolina Panthers at 5-4 right now. They've been a little bit inconsistent at times. The Falcons have been inconsistent. I just think we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams. The Seattle Seahawks have been vastly underrated. At least in my opinion, a lot of people are not talking about what the Seattle Seahawks team is doing. Sam Darnold is playing significant great football, MVP level football. Jackson Smith-Njigba from The Ohio State University has been playing some really good Offensive Player of the Year level type of football. So I think when we're talking about this, we already had a couple of coaches fired, whether we're talking about, let me get off the top of my head, when we're talking about the Titans, firing their head coach, Mike McDaniel. He's probably going to be out of a job. The general manager is out of a job. I think there could be a couple of coaches that could go next. Maybe you could talk about maybe in Arizona, maybe if things happen. I'm not sure about anybody else at this point, but I think Mike McDaniel may be next to go. Brian Daboll may be next. Raheem Morris, depending on how far the Falcons fall, he could be the next coached out. I don't know what the Dallas Cowboys and the Cincinnati Bengals are doing with the defenses. Al Golden has been trash. Eberflus, as a Bears fan, I dealt with that man for 3 years. Trash. They're in a competition for who's the worst defense in the NFL at this point. NFL history. How bad they are. There's no way with the and the Bengals, they've been dealing with a lot of offensive injuries. And I think the Cowboys and the Bengals, now that I'm thinking about it more and more, are very similar as far as football team. It's been some injuries, yes. Defensively, they can't stop a lick, and offensively, they score a lot of points. Even without Joe Burrow, they had those 2 games with Jake Browning where it's like, all right, we got to get him out of here. They add Joe Flacco, and they've been scoring points, but yet they still can't win football games because that defense can't stop anybody. The Cowboys have had games where they scored 40, especially against the Packers, and they ended up being a tie. And when that offense is kind of struggling, we know the Cowboys are going to lose, just like they did against them in the Arizona Cardinals. I think the couple of things that we can look out for after that loss are the Colts for real the rest of the year. Are the Eagles going to be any type of drama? The NFC North, how crazy is that going to be down the stretch? Can the Panthers maintain their level of play? Along with the Buccaneers, I think they can start to make strides. Seattle and the Rams, and then the 49ers, who I haven't touched on, been dealing with all their injuries. They're right there, sitting at 6-3 in the NFC West. They have been dealing with a lot, whether it's Purdy, whether it's Jennings, whether it's Pearsall, whether it's Ayuka, who still hasn't played. We're talking about Fred Warner being down, George Kittle missing time, and they're still at 6-3. What a great coaching job by Kyle Shanahan. Then in the AFC West is wild outside of the Raiders. Kansas City, 5-4. The Chargers, Broncos, still a crazy division. The Colts are sitting at their 7-2. What are the Texans going to be at the offensive line? We know the Titans are bad. They fired their head coach well. What are they going to be in Houston? Jacksonville, have they peaked? I think they may have. Then you got the AFC North. I think it's a 3-team possible race. I don't think the Bengals will win it, maybe 2-team because their defense is so bad. Then you got the AFC East with a 2-team race, the Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. So you got a lot of things that could play out over this back half of the season. And man, I'm ready for it. We get into the time of football where you got to run the football and you got to play great defense. Which team is going to make that step to get hot late? I'm greatly anticipating waiting to find that out. Man, this first half has been crazy. I think the second half just may be even crazier with all the parity and the injuries and things that's been going down. The Commanders as well with things that they've been dealing with. But I can't wait for this second half. It's going to be nuts. But that's all I've got. I know I've kind of been rambling all over the place. And I will catch you guys later. Peace.